Hi, this is R.N. Bhaskar from Bhaskar Ki Business Baatein. Actually, from BKBB. BKBB is an acronym for Bhaskar Ki Business Baatein, and this channel brings to you every week policy analysis, business stories, and conversations. But at this time in the morning, at 8:15, on weekdays, Monday to Friday, we bring to you news behind the news. And I'm glad you're here. And here, as usual, we come in with some news items that we think are worth discussing. And my co-anchor today is Anurag. Welcome, Anurag. It's good to have you here. And the titles that we shall discuss today are given on the screen. The first one is how Boeing has invited a lot of controversy after the Air India crash. And the second is about how India could emerge as one of the largest data centers in the world. And the third is VI, Vodafone, which has planned to get into Satlink Datacom, and they want to tie up with another company, which is a US company. Okay, let's take the first story. The first story is about Boeing. When the Boeing aircraft crashed in Ahmedabad just recently, killing all people on board except one survivor, the spotlight was suddenly shifted to Boeing's track record of accidents. And Boeing has had a nasty track record of accidents. Because of which, if we look at Boeing's and Airbus's share prices, you'll find the share prices of Airbus keep climbing, that of Boeing are going down. And this in turn has made people like Praful Patel, the former aviation minister, jump into the fray and say, why isn't Singapore talking about it? Because Singapore knows whether Boeing has a track record of accidents or not. Singapore said we've left the discussion to Tatas, which are handling the India scene. We are behind the scene, but we are in discussion constantly. So what is the truth? The fact is, if you look at the chart, the right-hand side chart, Boeing has more accidents than Airbus. Many, many more. But if you look at the chart on the left-hand side, you'll find Boeing has more aircraft and more flights than Airbus. So they say, since we have more flights and more aircraft, our accident numbers are bound to be higher. But that does not wash through the markets. The markets believe that no, there's something wrong with Boeing. In fact, many people believe that Boeing's track record of addressing problems in the aircraft is getting weaker and weaker. What will happen to this controversy? Everything depends on the way the investigations continue. And the government said it will come out with a report 3 months later. Why not earlier is a question that many people are asking. Anyway, since the government has said it will come in 3 months' time, I guess everyone will have to wait till 3 months. Till then, all kinds of rumors and gossip and theories will keep on flying. Yes, it's nasty. Yes, too many people have died. But then we have to find out how to prevent this in the future. Whether Boeing really wants to pay or not. Okay, let's take the second question. It's a very interesting question of whether India will emerge as the data center, as the biggest data center in the world. And Anurag is going to talk about it. Anurag, could we have you?
Good morning. India is rapidly emerging as a major global hub for data centers and semiconductor manufacturing, attracting significant international investment and domestic expansion as per the latest Moody's analysis. In 23 alone, India's data center market grew to nearly 900 megawatt of capacity, with projections suggesting this could double by 26. The Gujarat Semiconductor Manufacturing plant, among other new projects, is positioning India as a potential leader in chip fabrication for both domestic and global markets. This expansion is underpinned by increasing demand for AI, cloud computing, and secure data storages. However, the growth of data centers brings significant challenges, particularly in energy demand. As of June 2023, India's data centers consumed approximately accounting for 2% of the country's total power consumption, a figure expected to rise sharply as AI adoption increases. By 2028, AI alone could account for nearly 19% of data center power demand globally, with India's data center power demand projected to reach 3.2 gigawatt by 2028. So 3.2 gigawatt, that is enough to power approximately 3 million houses across country. This surge in demand across at a time when India's overall electricity needs are also rising. The country's peak electricity demand is projected to reach 273 gigawatts by June 2025, this month, which could power approximately 25 crore houses. And the energy shortages are expected during the peak summer month with unmet demand. While India is expanding its renewable energy capacity and storage solutions, coal remains the dominant source of power for data centers, and many regions still face basic energy supply challenges, especially during periods of high demand, such as now. The question now is whether India's energy infrastructure can keep pace with the rapid expansion of energy intensive data centers and semiconductor manufacturing plants, or if power shortages and grid limitations will become a bottleneck for country's digital ambition. This challenge of powering this growth raises a critical question: is country's energy infrastructure ready to support the next phase of digital economy? Or will energy constraints slow its rise as a global technology hub? What's your take on this, sir?
Data business is going to increase in India for the simple reason that India has made co-location of all servers in India a must. When the government demands that all servers have to locate in India, data centers have to increase. Now, there are two things that happen. One, data centers are energy hungry, but they're also water hungry because of data centers have to cool with water.
Right.
As a result, India is already facing water scarcity or water tensions, water stress in many parts of the country. So, effectively, to make sure that data centers succeed, it has to have a water policy which it has ignored till now. India is one place where we still do not have a cost of water concept. India is still a country where many of the rural, water users are not even metered. When you don't know what the consumption is, how can you have a policy? Politics will not allow you to do that. So effectively, data centers could run into big problems if these two policies are not taken care of immediately. Because once a data center is put up, you cannot afford even a slightest break in data transmission. There'll be too many errors. There'll be too many problems. Plans are good. Everyone knows it's going to increase, but the big question is the government geared up with its supported policies? Let's take the third question, the third story. The third story is equally interesting. Vodafone, the laggard in the telecom business. The biggies are Reliance, Jio, Airtel, and Vodafone. At one time, Vodafone was one of the most competitive players, perhaps even the largest. A series of policy changes, unwanted levy of taxes and pricing, which hurt Vodafone tremendously, and of course, its inability to cope with the environmental changes that were taking place. All the three have hurt Vodafone badly. It now wants to go to get into the Satcom business. It has already partnered with a US company, which is there, and it is trying to get its business to expand. It already has 5 satellites in the sky. It thinks it will have 60 more in the next few months. But that number is also insignificant when you compare the total numbers to Starlink of Elon Musk and to Amazon's Kuiper. But even they will fade into insignificance when they're compared to China's satellite linkages. China's Satcom business through Baidu is huge, many times bigger than even Starlink. At the same time, India has not yet got a policy on how it's going to affect India's defense services and the need to keep data intact within India. Because satellite business, a satellite goes across the skies. Will Vodafone play a role there? It says it will be there in emergency services. It says it will try to reach out to areas where other people haven't reached. But that is what even Amazon tries to do. That is what even Starlink tries to do. And Starlink has 2 very strong partners, both Jio and Airtel. Plus, VI will require a few more additional government clearances in terms of licensing. Plans are good. If Vodafone handles this part well, you could see the revival of fortunes for Vodafone. Otherwise, it could be the same old story. And that finishes my story for this for today. Just a reminder, which I forgot to tell you earlier. Please click the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. Click the like button. It helps the algorithms. But most important, tell all your friends about us. We need the audience to grow much more, though we are growing even today. And yes, now let me go on to the next part, and that is questions. We already have some questions coming in. The first question is, how do you see Boeing emerging as a credible player? First, Boeing is a big company. Second, Boeing has a track record of good service in the past. Unfortunately, the last few years post-COVID have seen many accidents, and all of them involving too many deaths. But as I said earlier, Boeing's contention is that we have more flights, more aircraft, so the number of accidents will appear to be larger. Is that so? Only an investigation will tell you the truth. But it raises some other questions. With the US breathing down government's neck, and the government wants India to purchase its aircraft, its defense aircraft, its defense equipment, and wants to export agricultural items into India, one doesn't know how much of Boeing's sales in India have to do with government pressure, which indirectly is because of the US pressure. All US companies have now been tainted with the stigma of being US pressure companies. That is why this war that is taking place in the Middle East will even decide the fortunes of US companies in India and the rest of the world. Okay, let's take the second question. The second question is about data centers. Will there be many more players in data centers? Yes, of course. While Adani's and the Tatas and Reliance are already in this business, expect everyone to come in. You'll have Google setting up its data centers. You'll have Facebook setting up its Meta, setting up its data centers. Every person who has services in India will have to set up a data center. There'll be 2 issues which are critical. Where will they locate it? Because water is important. And stable, steady electricity is important. And the second is, what will the price, the cost of these data services be? Let's see what happens. Interesting. And there's the third question: what are the chances of VI becoming a vibrant company again? Please remember, VI is backed by a very powerful company, by a very powerful parent called Vodafone. And Vodafone's big globally. When and where this company gets revived is a matter of strategy, of timing, but don't write off VI as yet. Anyway, that's the end of the discussions today. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for watching. And yes, most important, have a wonderful day ahead. The day is just beginning, and I hope it's profitable and meaningful for you. See you again tomorrow. Look forward to see you.